All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of We Know Big Blue Ball. I am Coach Ryan, KY, as always, joined by Clarkus. Clarkus, how in the heck are you?
I'm good, man. Glad to be back. It's been a little while.
It has been a little while. A lot has happened in the UK world, but, outside of this, we all have normal jobs, and it was a busy time of year, closing out the years. I'm sure everybody's been busy. Hope 2024 and the end of it has been great, and I hope your holidays were great as well. Before we get started, the We Know Big Blue Ball podcast is presented by Spearcrest Digital. Spearcrest Digital provides custom website design, search engine optimization, and Google Business Profile Management solutions for service-based businesses. For a free website audit, get in touch with Spearcrest Digital today at www.spearcrestdigital.com or by calling 502-305-8770. Well, Clarkus, a lot has happened in the UK world since we last recorded.
A lot.
Yes. Typically on this podcast, we start out talking some football. But I think we need to start with basketball.
Let's go for it.
As the last time Kentucky played,
not pretty.
Yeah, took a 20-point loss to Ohio State.
Terrible Ohio State team.
Yeah, something that we didn't really even see coming.
Without their best player. Oh, no, we were blindsided. It was horrific.
And the Aaron Bradshaw that we thought was going to be at Kentucky showed up at Madison Square Garden.
Bites us in the ass every time.
Every time. But, when it comes to it, looking post, so I'm kind of glad that we've had time to sit on it.
Yeah, I would have been very angry if we recorded a day or two after.
And, Mark Pope said in his weekly call-in show that basically insinuated that there may have been some distractions going on.
Mm-hmm. And I believe it.
And I 100% believe it too, because, you've got two players that got engaged. I'm not saying they have no right to get engaged in New York,
right?
Like that, but you had two players get engaged, and then you had players hang around in New York as well. Mm-hmm. It almost seems
Winsall Hamilton.
Yeah, so it almost seems as it was more of a trip instead of a business trip.
Right.
Which, you could tell that Mark Pope understood that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he owned up to it.
Yeah, he owned up to it. So, it's not one of these things like you saw with the last coach where, it's the built for March thing that you could tell Pope took this personally.
Yeah, he sure did.
And realized that there were some mistakes made.
Right. He got humbled.
Yeah, he got humbled. And, I don't think anybody saw it coming.
No, we
saw that coming.
We kind of expected to walk right over him, and that never really happened.
Yeah, and I mean, Ohio State's not good, and they also were missing
their best player, Meechie Johnson.
Yeah, they were missing Meechie Johnson, which is their higher score, and has given Kentucky fits in the past.
Oh yeah, he torched us at South Carolina.
Yeah, under Calipari, kind of had some trouble with him. Just an overall bad performance, but one thing that I've just got to see more of. I've got to see more threes go up.
Yeah, they've been kind of slouching on those numbers. They said 30 to 35 a game, and we've been getting like 22, 23.
Yeah, and I understand, sometimes they're not going in, but under a Mark Pope offense, you have to shoot the three.
Yep.
And, against...
He's been quoted saying he'll take you out if you pass one up.
Yes, and that brings me up to saying this, that, against teams like we're playing today, like Brown.
Right.
Teams like Brown, you can do the one more pass thing.
Right.
But, teams like Ohio State or teams in the SEC that are coming up, you can't do that because there's going to be, I mean, they're more athletic.
Yes.
They're longer.
Saturday is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's good. Florida's very good.
Yeah, the whole SEC is very good.
I'm glad that they got some time here before the game. 10 days is a long break, probably too long. But I'm glad before they go into Florida that, today they're going to play Brown.
Right.
So, and we're recording this on New Year's Eve. But They're playing Brown today, and at least get your feet back under them. But Brown's actually
Aren't they the best team in the Ivy League?
yeah, they're a decent team.
They're up there with the Princetons and Harvards, or
Yeah,
not Harvard. Princeton and who's the other good one? Is it Harvard?
it might be Harvard. Harvard's had
They've had a couple good years when Tommy Amaker was there.
yeah, and but when it comes to Ivy League teams, I mean, this goes without saying that they're going to play, smart.
Well,
Um,
yeah, the smartest people in the country.
yeah, but it it's going to help out because in the SEC there's going to be extreme athleticism basically nightly.
Very, very. I mean, very physical in the SEC this year. There's so many good teams. Like this is the best non-conference record I think any league has ever posted before going into conference play.
And I mean, yeah, and literally every game in the SEC this season is going to be a battle,
Yes.
a full on battle. And it's important, I guess, from a standpoint of looking at seeding in March to understand that this team is going to take losses.
Yes.
It's just going to happen.
We're probably going to have 6-7 conference losses.
Yeah, and so will even maybe somebody like Auburn, who's right now probably the best team in the country.
By
There's
far.
just so many.
I think they would work Tennessee. I can't wait to see that game.
Yeah, there's just so many good teams in the Southeastern Conference that, especially road games, are going to be a problem.
Nuts.
And from here on out, we're 2 games a week. So I like that just from a
me too.
standpoint.
I hate waiting a week between games.
Yeah, it's awful. And,
when we're good, when we're bad,
yeah. But when we're good, it's nice. It feels like you get in more of a rhythm.
Yes.
So it's like, all right, I'm playing on Tuesday. I'm playing on Saturday.
It's the rest versus rust thing.
Yes, and I like that, rest versus rust. But the I kind of agree with you that it's better. 10 days you're going to let rust set in, especially that they got time off after the Ohio State game. They kind of went all over the place. A bunch of them stayed in New York.
Yep.
But you wonder, are you getting the reps you need? And I understand that they are high level athletes. They do need rest, but you also got to put work in. But I think that we give Pope the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah. He'll get him dialed back in.
Yeah, you could tell it was a lot different messaging from Mark Pope than John Calipari used to give. Calipari, it was, we're built for March. We're going to figure this out. We got some tweaks. We're going to Camp Cal.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, all that. But you could tell that Pope, it was like, okay, no, like we're going to figure this out now. And
yes, we're getting back in the lab now.
Yeah. So that was good to see. The other thing that's been good to see is, I watched the Mark Pope call-in show last night, and it's not one of these things where, especially with Calipari, and I understand the comparisons are getting old, but I mean you have to. It's the first year,
right?
But with Calipari, it was defensive.
Yes.
And with Pope, it was like more. You could tell.
Bring it on, tear me down.
You could tell that it was like, I'm going to get this fixed, and I understand it was bad, but it's also not the end of the world. He was very composed and very relaxed.
Yeah, he handles constructive criticism quite well. It
wasn't one of these things where it was like, the sky is falling, something went wrong, we just got exposed a little bit. There wasn't panic.
Right.
Which is something that, especially, I mean, looking back last season, look at the Oakland game.
Mayhem.
They were tight because there was so much pressure put on them from John Calipari
all year
to win that game. We're built for March. We're built for March. We're built for March. Wait till March. And I like that Pope has not done that because you could tell last year in that Oakland game that they were tight.
Very,
very tight. And you could also tell that they I mean, were so tight that they were scared to make a mistake, and they weren't even playing
No, they
their
weren't playing
game.
free like they had all year.
And speaking of Oakland, John Calipari in Arkansas played them last night.
Yeah, it was
And
close for about 5 minutes.
it was, and you know that Greg Campy, the longest head coach in Division One basketball, been at Oakland for 41 years.
That's insane.
Um, that's Coach K territory, but
I think longer than K.
it it was one of those things that I thought Oakland was going to give them a game just because when you remember last year,
Well, they don't have Jack anymore, so
old Golke, but when you remember last year, he when he drew Kentucky, he made comments like before the game that he thought he could beat him.
right
So it was pretty close.
till about halftime.
Yeah, till about halftime. But it's sitting in Arkansas podcast. But let's talk a little bit about recruiting. Mark Pope made an interesting comment on the show last night.
Talking about maybe adding another freshman.
Yes.
Come on down, Caleb Wilson.
Yes, and that's Caleb Wilson. All right. So we've got a Caden Lewis, Malachi Moreno, who Malachi Moreno had a great showing at the City of Palms, by
He's
the way.
been dominating.
And then obviously Jasper's really
Yeah.
good.
Crushing.
But Mark Pope insinuated that there might be another freshman added, and that he's talking about Caleb Wilson.
It's either him or the Arenas kid.
We've crystal balled Caleb Wilson to Kentucky for
3 months.
Yeah, I mean
2 months.
a long time. So I think that's going to be done pretty soon. I don't think Pope would say something like that
Yeah, I think his recruitment's supposed to wrap up
soon.
like within the next week or so.
Yeah, so I think that, when it comes down to getting Caleb Wilson on campus, I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Yes.
And he's a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah, he's a
a
bucket getter.
You hear these people talk about, you need somebody to get you but he's that guy.
Mhm.
He's kind of what this year's team honestly is missing.
Yeah. And he can do it from all 3 levels too.
And you throw him in with Jasper, okay, and and you can see
There's
where
a
it's
core
going to
there.
come. And then you obviously have returning players that I think Trent Noah and Travis Perry are still going to provide great minutes here one day.
Yeah.
I'm actually think Trent Noah can provide decent minutes now.
Yeah. He needs to be playing Travis Perry's minutes.
Yeah, I agree, because right now Perry, I love the guy, but it's just not working. If he's not hitting his threes,
then there's no point for him to be out there.
pretty much. But Trent Noah has shown that he hits those
He
threes.
hits the shots and he can actually defend.
And he's physical.
Yes.
He's very physical. He's kind of like when I was on the high school beat last season, I used to say this as well. He's a little bit of a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
Very
I believe it.
kind of I mean, it's not reckless, but very like aggressive, going after the ball.
He's broad, wide, and aggressive.
Yeah, and he's what Kentucky has been bothered by in the past,
Like a Grant Williams type player.
Yeah, but I mean, he's obviously not as tall, nor as skilled right now. But you see a pathway to getting there.
Oh yeah, it's there
from where he's at. Now, let's look ahead a little bit. So we're not obviously going to right now predict the Brown game. We'll put that out on social media later. Probably nobody's going to see us for the Brown game because it's played at 2:00.
Right, and it's what, 11 now.
Yeah, so probably not going to see this for the Brown game. But looking into the SEC, so Kentucky right now, I think the non-conference went about as well as
Oh yeah,
you hoped it.
I think going into the season, we all probably expected to have 3 or 4 non-conference losses.
Yeah, and you go 10-2, beat Duke and beat Gonzaga.
Yeah.
So, and your 2 losses are kind of losses that you didn't really. You would have penciled those in. You probably would have flipped it.
Right.
Had you been predicting it on throughout the year. Um, the Clemson loss, I don't give a whole lot to that. It was kind of
No, Tuesday night road environment.
the Ohio State loss bugs me a lot more. But
Yes.
looking ahead, you've got Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. I mean, you got gauntlets coming up,
Yeah.
right?
It's a gauntlet from now until March, April.
So sitting at 10-2, where do you think Kentucky finishes the season? How many losses?
I think they take 6 or 7 L's in conference, so that puts us at 8, 9 loss team.
Okay, 8 or 9 losses. So probably looking at SEC strong, looking at 4 or 5 seed there.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm going to one up you. I'm a little more optimistic. I think Kentucky's going to end the season with 6 or 7 losses.
Okay.
Um, I think this Ohio State game really did something to Mark Pope.
Oh, you can tell he was bothered.
That and he made a comment back when he was coaching Utah Valley in a post game at UK that he hadn't lost very much in this building. So, and he's already made the comment about wearing suits and rup
Right.
and all that. So he's going to defend home court.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not worried about it from a lack of preparation. He's
No,
going to be
he's
prepared.
yes. More than prepared.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
over prepared sometimes.
I think he's going to do pretty well, and I see Kentucky being about like a 3 seed in
Okay.
the NCAA tournament, which I like.
It doesn't matter. They're going to put Arkansas one below us wherever we're at just
Yeah,
to get that second round matchup.
but Cal's got to win
That's true.
in the first round to get to the second round, which he's shown that he cannot do. Now, moving on a little bit to some other sports, Vince Marrow came out the whole North Carolina going to Belichick. The last podcast, you said that you thought it was it.
I thought that would be it, but
And then it comes out that he denies it again. I am sick and tired of the Vince Marrow flirting with other jobs. I'm tired of it.
yeah. It's basically just become a money grab.
It has, and it is a money grab. Because look, if you're trying to use this from a negotiating standpoint, what have you done to negotiate? That football team was pathetic this year. And they're all in the transfer portal.
And his tight ends had nothing to do with it.
Yes. And
they never have anything to do with the offense.
So let's look at it this way. Your tight ends. So the tight ends were not good this year.
Nope. They haven't been in 5 years.
So recruiting, let's look at that. Well, the recruits sucked this year. So what are we doing?
Running it back with the portal.
I guess. So, but the thing about me is that, he does this and gets the fan base all up in arms. Is Vince going? Is Vince going? And then pulls the rug out. And it's like, no. And this is an every season thing. Do it or don't. You're either here or not. You're with us or you're not, Vince. That's my word on it. So, I don't know if Mark Stoops needs to set him down. I don't know if Mitch Barnhart needs to set him down. But you need to say, look, either you're here or you're not. So
right. Quit flirting.
Yes. And if you want to be a head coach, fine. Go be a head coach. Go coach Southern Miss or Youngstown State.
Right.
You name it that he's flirted with. If you want to go to one of these power schools to recruit, go do it. Go to Michigan or wherever you're wanting to go.
And they better not extend him.
Yes, and at this point,
don't get me wrong. I like Vince. He's done a lot for this place, but there's no way anybody on that staff deserves an extension until they do something on the field.
And the only turnover was at wide receiver coach.
Yeah.
That was the only turnover.
Which I get him leaving.
I mean, I do too, but Mark Stoops after the season was acting like there was going to be all these coaching changes made, and there was one.
Yeah,
one.
They got rid of Wolf, but
Wolford can recruit, but
he can't develop a line. Look what he did to Alabama's offensive line.
Correct,
and destroyed that.
If there's one decent spot to look at in the portal. I guess you could say the line.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not great because we're out here, we're getting players from the MAC, we're getting players from the Sun Belt, we're getting players. I mean, Conference USA, like
Division 2.
what? Like this is the Southeastern Conference. Are we in the Southeastern Conference?
Last I checked.
What?
Barely.
What are we doing?
I don't know. They wanted to take the approach of getting experienced players over backups who played in power conferences because they have playing experience.
Well, I mean, what does Calzada give you? Nothing.
I don't understand why you go get somebody like that if you're thinking Cutter's the guy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you think Cutter's the guy, you go get Calzada. So now you make Cutter mad. You create a quarterback controversy that doesn't really need to be there. Like,
A lot of weird moves.
I don't know. I think, and I'll go on record saying this, I think this is the last season of Mark Stoops. Because I just don't see it.
If they go 3-9, 4-8 again next year, something's got to change.
I mean, and they're going to. Because I mean, when you look at the schedule, I had tweeted something out on my account at Coach Ryan KY. Give me a follow, by the way. Give Clarkus one at Clarkus23. But we were predicting the schedule, and I said, okay, let's look it down. So let's look at it right now. Toledo,
All right.
that's a win. Ole Miss, it's at home. That's an L. Kiffin's going to come in here mad.
After last year, that
Yep.
that loss causing them a spot in the playoff more than likely. Yeah.
That's an L. Eastern Michigan, that's a win.
Yeah.
We'll give Eastern Michigan a win. Then you've got a bye week. Then you've got South Carolina away. That's an L.
Yeah.
You've got Georgia away. L.
Yep.
Bye week. Then you have Texas at home. That's an L. Texas, Georgia still in the playoff.
Yep.
That's an L. Tennessee
L.
at home. That's an L. I will never pick them to beat Tennessee again. Away Auburn. That's an L.
Yep.
I mean, Auburn did what they wanted
You
to.
can't even count Vandy as a guaranteed win. They got Diego Pavia back.
Then you got Florida coming here in November. Florida typically doesn't come here in November, but Florida, was looking good
Yeah, they
towards the end
kind
of the
of
season.
pieced
so,
everything together.
I mean, I don't see any reason. That's an L.
Yep.
Tennessee Tech at home, that's a win. Tennessee Tech's Ohio Valley, I believe, FCS. They'll win that one.
Hopefully.
Vandy away. Well,
That's
Vandy
an
just
L.
got their quarterback back.
Yeah.
So that's an L. And then Louisville away.
Toss up.
I'll give it an L. So you're either 3-9 or 4-8 at best after we just broke it down. How do you come back from that?
You don't.
I don't think you can, because when you look at you're entering at that point. You're in Joker territory.
Yes.
And
Not good territory.
especially after this season, it's just bad.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have. There's nothing to build on here.
No.
And it seems to be one of those things that, Mark Stoops, he's done great things here. I have nothing against, this is not me being angry.
It's almost as if they've peaked and they're coming back down the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, and that's what happened because,
Same thing happened with Cal.
we're recording this on New Year's Eve. Look what happened 2019 Citrus Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, 2021
Citrus
Citrus
Bowl.
Bowl. And we were playing in big bowl games, winning big bowl games on national TV. And I mean, the wheels just fell completely off the wagon or whatever you
The
want to
wagon
call
blew up, brother.
it. Yeah. But I mean, it's not good. It's not good. And, the recruiting that we're doing right now is not good enough. It's just not.
I like a couple of the pieces we got from the portal.
Yeah, but a couple's not going to cut it when you're losing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Hardly Gilmore, thought he was coming back.
I think he is coming back.
And
There's some scuttlebutt out there that he's going to return.
so right now you've got, Macklin at your wide receiver?
You have without Gilmore, you have a wide receiver room with 10 people in it. 5 of those are true freshmen.
It's not good. It's not good. Especially after, I would have loved to have Dane Key back, but he went to Nebraska.
That's a head scratcher.
That
I guess he really liked Dykel Shorts.
Yeah, and You know, Barryon's going to be at LSU, which that's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
At least we don't have to play either of them.
yeah, but it comes down to you lost. I mean, who are you going to throw it to? We're going to be very, very, very easy to defend.
The tight ends? No. No, they're all in the portal.
Yeah, I mean
Hey,
that,
we got that true freshman coming in.
but it's going to be one of these things that there's just nowhere to see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's
Right. Is there even an end to the tunnel?
I'm not I'm not a I'm and I've said this, I'm not a football guy. I'm basketball. As far as X's and O's, I understand that. But even I can see that there's
There's
nothing
something,
there.
yeah.
There's nothing there. And it's one of those things, that when it comes to a fan excitement standpoint,
I'm not excited.
I'm not. Season tickets are going to be down.
Way down.
I mean, would you pay the premium to go out there, not win an SEC game again, because that ain't going to happen, especially at home,
Right.
and get embarrassed? I mean, week and week
No.
and week. I mean, for a lot of these people, I mean, that's a big investment. You got to keep in mind the football fan base and the basketball, as far as who goes to the games,
Totally different.
is very, very, very different. And the football fan base, that's an investment to
Right.
come here. And you have people coming from far, far away
Oh, yeah.
to these games. You have people
I
coming
mean,
from
hell, some of
Duke
them,
and
they set up their tailgates week 1 and they don't come down till the end of the season.
yeah, and then you have people bringing RVs and everything, and they don't want to see just a lackluster, quite frankly, bad product.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to watch. We were at the Georgia game together just as fans, and I mean that punt, man. The You just felt the energy get sucked
Yep.
right out of the stadium, and you and I were kind of looking at each other like,
What are we doing?
Like, are we going to try
Like,
to win this game? Or, I mean, you are playing the University of Georgia, who last time I checked is in the college football playoff,
yep.
and you have a chance, and you're not playing.
Like, go for it. What do you have to lose?
Yes, play to win the game.
Yes.
That's my thing. So, the biggest thing that I want to see Mark Stoops do, I want this to be Mark Stoops' New Year's resolution. Next year, you are going to have to take risks.
Yeah.
Running the ball up the middle behind the ass of your left tackle is not going to work.
Nope.
We've tried that. That's like the Calipari thing in basketball. The whole beat the guy off the dribble one-on-one doesn't work anymore.
Nope.
Time to evolve. I mean, you go to a high school game. High school football has changed incredibly.
Drastically.
I mean, you used to go to a high school game back when we were in high school. It was run, 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 run. That's
Yep.
all it was.
And then you'll hit an occasional pass.
Now it's pass, 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 run.
Yep.
And, it has a lot to do with the way the NFL is and Patrick Mahomes and just the overall way sports have gone. But you've got to take some risks.
Yeah.
And, is it going to bite you in the butt sometimes? Yeah.
Sure will.
But
it'll lead to a more exciting product on the field.
exactly.
And
if
maybe
we're
more wins.
If we're going to beat some of these juggernauts in the SEC who are only getting better with rev share,
Yep.
they're only getting better. They're not going to get worse. You have to take the risk.
Yeah, you got to risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit. Put it on a T-shirt. But when it comes just to building a winning football program too, you're gonna bring in players that want to be part of that.
Yep.
I mean, what kind
Culture and discipline has been I don't know even how to describe it.
F.
It's been
F minus.
F minus.
Yeah, I mean, it's been as bad as you can get, and I think they got rid of a lot of the culture issues in the portal.
Yes.
So
I had heard at one point that was maybe why Gilmore went to the portal, but
the issues with culture, I mean, you could see it.
mm-hmm.
You could feel it too.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you were just around the players, that you could tell there was different sets of rules for different people. And
Yep. Yeah, guys, walk around, do whatever they want, and
go
then
into the concession
second,
stand.
yep, that is just nuts to me. Middle of the game, Gerald Mincy at the concession stand.
You know what? To be fair, in that Louisville game, I needed a beer too at that point in the game because
Uh, Not good.
it was ugly, is what it was. It was ugly. I mean, that was a ass kicking.
Yep.
That's what that was. It was an ass kicking.
Oh yeah, it was so bad. I left my house watching the game to come down here to set up for the interview. Said, I
Yeah,
don't even need to watch the rest of this game.
I mean, and it's one of those things that when it comes to being a Kentucky fan, you remember this as well. It used to be the whole game of let's not get embarrassed.
Yeah,
Well, we're getting to it seemed like we crossed that.
we're back in that territory
Yes,
now.
we crossed that hurdle, and it was okay. Not let's not get embarrassed. Let's win some football games.
Right.
And now it's coming back to let's not get embarrassed.
Oh no, we suck again.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. And it's awful. But I guess we're stuck with it for at least another year. One bright side of it is John Summerall said he's staying at
Tulane,
Tulane,
yeah.
which makes me
He's
think
waiting out for Kentucky.
that's what it sounds like.
He wants to come home.
That he wants to come home to Kentucky and thinks that there's something here to build on.
Because he turned down a bag
oh yeah,
from North Carolina.
he turned down a bad. I mean, he was a hot coach.
Oh
A
yeah.
hot coach, and he's young. And I think should Kentucky be able to get him eventually, that he's going to bring that same energy
Yep.
into the football program that Mark Pope brought into the basketball program.
Yes.
Because there's something to be said about guys that have belonged to the program.
Yeah. They know what it's like to play for the name on the jersey, not the name on the back.
Yeah, and and there's some pride in that as well.
Absolutely.
That because when it comes down to it, they're fans too.
Yeah.
I was on staff at EKU, but I'm an EKU fan too.
Yeah.
That it's
I root for him. I went there for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that I want EKU to do great.
Yeah.
And Mark Pope is like that with UK because obviously he went here, and you've got to think John Summerall would be the same exact way
Oh, of course.
with the football program. And I just
Well,
think
having played here and coached here, he's rooting for us.
and I think the energy. I mean, you've seen the videos of the guy like standing out, like telling his players to keep his head up, keep their heads up. They're going to come back and win it, and talking to fans, and like he
I
is
love
what
Summerall.
you need. He is what you need.
Yeah.
Because he is what Stoops was.
Yes.
He is what Stoops was.
I think the game is starting to pass Stoops by a little
Well, and I mean, and I'm not trying to sound some type of way, but Mark Stoops, he's not young.
He's like 62
anymore. So, and that's not me bashing him or anything. He's 57.
Oh, okay.
But
that's relatively young in coaching.
That it takes energy to get on planes and all this stuff all the time that, 50 something year olds may not necessarily.
Oh, come on now.
I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an explanation here, Clark.
He is too.
Yeah, but there really is no explanation, I guess. But when it comes to Summerall, I do think you would see just an overall energy change.
Oh, 100%.
In the program.
And culture change automatically.
Yes, automatically culture change. But and that's honestly what this program needs, I think, is a good energy shot into the arm. And
I get them some Red Bull stat.
Yeah, I don't know what that is right now. And the energy shot, that we needed in 20 over COVID was Will Levis. That if anybody remembers that Will Levis video came out of him just throwing missiles.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, like there's something there.
Yeah.
And he's been bashed in the NFL, but I mean, Will Levis is a good quarterback. He's got a heck of an arm. He was a good quarterback here.
He was a good quarterback here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That like he was a good quarterback here, and there was reason for the excitement. The excitement made sense. I don't have that excitement for Zach Calzada.
No.
I mean, what is there? I've watched a little bit of film. I mean,
one game he's known for.
Yeah, and if you've played at 2 SEC schools, then you go FCS. Why?
Technically, he only played at one.
Technically.
Because at Auburn, he got hurt before the season even started and then transferred.
But my thing is, why do the FCS thing at that point if you're that talented?
You could ask Cam Ward the same thing, and he's about to be a top 10 pick.
I guess,
He
but
played at Incarnate Word as well.
although Cam Ward did a no. You can't do what he did. Get
Uh,
that individual record and
and then just
then just hang it up. You're
literally
either
quit at
in.
half, got the record, quit at halftime, and declared for the draft during the game.
Yep, you're either in or you're not.
That
And
was he
there's
probably
some
lost a
sour grapes.
lot of respect from his teammates over that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's some sour grapes there. And it comes down to just the way college athletics are
Yep.
now. It's the pros.
Yeah,
And
it's minor league pros.
yeah, so that's just the way it's gonna be kind of from now on, and it sucks. Kentucky had it happen, that Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of players opted out and, got trounced in one of the most
Isn't that when
boring
we had
games ever by Iowa.
Keaton
Iowa was in the
Wade at
Music City
quarterback?
Bowl. Yeah, we did have Wade.
Yeah.
And Iowa was in the Music City. It feels like Iowa's always in the Music City Bowl.
It's either Music City or Citrus.
Yep. And, hats off to Iowa fans. They are like very dedicated to
The most loyal fans, and
for really nothing. I mean, they had
God
Caitlin
bless
Clark,
them.
but that they really didn't have much. So speaking of Caitlin Clark, let's talk a little bit here about the UK women's program. Undefeated at home.
Yep.
Heck of a
And only
heck of an
one loss on the year.
one loss on the year was to North Carolina. It was a bad loss.
Yeah.
They got blown out. But I mean, there's a lot there to be excited about in the women's
Oh
program.
yeah. I
I
was
mean-
pumped before they even played a game. I like Kenny. He's
With Kyra Elsie, especially if you followed the women's program, Kyra, it was bad. It was bad.
historically bad.
Like you said, historically
bad.
And it was getting to the point where I was starting to get concerned is how long is this going to take to rebuild? Because we were getting, NIL and stuff exists, but it was getting to the historically bad levels that it's like, well, the NIL exists, but who is going to want to take this on? Because it's really, really, really bad. So it was at historically bad levels.
Yes, very bad. But
And
that just goes to show if you can go out and make the right hire, an immediate turnaround can happen.
yes, and a lot of things were going in the right direction too, because the new facility is great.
Oh, it's immaculate.
It's great. But Kenny Brooks, I mean, it's been a culture change around that program.
1000%.
And you feel it when you're around the program as well, that it's no longer the days of, that we're in the SEC, it's tough, maybe it's no.
No, we're here to compete now.
Yeah, and there's been pleasant surprises.
Oh yeah, Deja Lawrence.
Deja Lawrence has been good. Clara Strack's been great.
Amelia Hassett.
Hassett's been a pleasant surprise, and then Amore has been picking up,
doing more things.
Yes, so it's incredible to see just the level of growth in them, and I think they have the ability to make some noise. They stuck still in the polls this week at number 16, which I think is disrespectful.
Yeah,
but they've got some pieces there to do some things in the SEC.
I think that team could be an Elite Eight type team.
Do I think they can beat the South Carolinas of the? No,
not yet.
Do I think Kenny Brooks can build it to get there? Yes. I do.
If he did it at Virginia Tech, he can do it here.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's the same kind of thing you have going on with Mark Pope, and you need some players that are immediate type elite
impact.
Yeah, and Amore is that, but I'm talking a few of those.
Yes.
And that's what the Tennessees of the world, the LSUs, Tennessee's not great anymore. South Carolina, UConn, that's what they all have. That makes them good. And there's a lot to be excited around. You go to those games and there's just a different energy.
It's always a packed house.
And people are starting to take notice. One thing I wish they would stop doing is scheduling against the men. They have a lot of conflicts in their schedule, which is not going to work out well for them. Because this men's basketball is Kentucky.
People are going to choose to go to the men's games. No offense to the ladies, but When you
Yeah.
have them 2 hours apart, it's kinda hard to get from the women's game straight over to the men's game.
Yeah, and it's not one of these things like at some of these smaller schools, which is what they're designing that after, where it's done like back to back.
Right.
It's not that type of thing. So a lot to be excited about there. But let's round this thing out. We've started this podcast in 2024. I've been having a great time
Oh,
with
me
it,
too, man.
and we thank all of you all for listening. But let's reflect a little bit. What is your? I know what the worst moment of 2024 is for you. It's the loss to Oakland. Like is
Yeah.
yeah, that's obviously there's no reason to. What is your best Kentucky sports moment of 2024?
I don't know, there could be a couple in there. I could have one from maybe each sport, even football.
What? Yeah, with the Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But what if?
No, I would actually put it at the Georgia game.
Oh yeah,
That was
that was
that was
electric.
nice to be in that game.
That was electric. But what was the best, just overall moment?
It's gotta be for men's baseball, and it's gotta be that walk-off home run.
Oh, you took mine. The walk off homer with Mitchell Daly. That yes, I
That
think
that
so
that
too.
has to be it.
And I think right behind that would be the Johnny Hummel strikeout on Oregon State to go from KPP from Kentucky Proud Park to go to the College World
Right.
Series. That was right there too. And it was at like midnight. And ended the Pac-12.
Yep. I
Um,
think you could throw in the that running floater that Reed hit against Mississippi
yeah,
State in there too.
but I'm gonna go with the obvious one, the Mark Pope press conference.
Oh,
That
that's a good one.
was electric. Nobody saw that coming, especially we've relived it and hashed it out. By the way, if you want to know what happened, like during the Calipari, which is probably the craziest
Right.
Kentucky story of 2024, go to unitedwestand.com at www.untdwestnd.com. Go check out the blog. I wrote a tell-all there
Right.
that says how that went down. But the turnaround and people turning away from a press conference at Rupp and just the overall energy that brought was an awesome moment. You stole mine with Mitchell Daly. That was going to
You
be
know, there's another one you could throw up there. It's after the Duke game. That locker room interview came out, and then the sideline, where they were filming for the
oh
the
yeah,
journey. When Mark Pope was like, he's gonna spin, and when he does, collapse on him and take that ball. Boom.
that was a great one too. But a lot of bad things happened,
Yeah,
but a lot of good things happened in 2024 too. So that's kind of the way the years go. In 2025, what is something you want to see?
a bowl game.
Well, I'm going to say it. I want to hang number 9 in
Well, yeah, that
2025.
that too.
As always, thank you for listening to the Big Blue Ball podcast. Follow us at Coach Ryan KY on X. Follow Clarkus at Clarkus23. This has been presented by Spearcrest Digital. Spearcrest Digital provides custom website design, search engine optimization, and Google Business Profile Management services for a service-based business. For a free website audit, get in touch with Spearcrest Digital today at www.spearcrestdigital.com or by calling 502 305 8770. Well, Clarkus, you got anything for them?
Y'all have a good and happy New Year's, and we'll talk to you next year.
Talk to you next year. We're out.